Vinayak R, Director BVB Gadak, and also the Joint Secretary of Hubli Dharwad North Karnataka Sahodaya, to throw light on NEP, its salient features, and what NEP aims at making the education system holistic, flexible, multidisciplinary, and aligned to the needs of 21st century and the 2030 Sustainable Developmental Goals. Let us dwell into more details. Over to you, Mr. Vinayak.
Thank you, Shivangi ma'am, and thank you, Sunil sir, for joining us this afternoon on the webinar. It was really a pleasure having you because you are the first CBSE official to be there on a Sahodaya event of our Sahodaya. So we are very pleased that you have been our first guest, and we look forward to organize such informative sessions in the future also in collaboration with your esteemed office. So thank you very much, sir, for addressing us. Good afternoon, everyone. I am Vinayak R. As Shubhangi ma'am has already introduced me. In one line, I would like to say I'm an engineer by qualification and a teacher by passion. I finished my postgraduate diploma in international education from Birmingham City University and at Indus Training and Research Institute, Bengaluru. Having done that, I am now with Balavinayaka Vidyaniketan as the director. And today, it's my pleasure that I would be presenting NEP 2020 to all of you. Just a moment, I will share my screen. All right. So today in my presentation on National Education Policy 2020, my focus lies with part 1, that is school education. The first education policy of this country first came up in the year 1968 under the leadership of the then Prime Minister Srimati Indira Gandhi. After which in 1986 there was a second policy under the leadership of Prime Minister Shri Rajiv Gandhi. And again in 1992, the 1986 policy was reviewed under the leadership of Prime Minister P.V. Narasimha Raoji's government. And finally in the year 2020, the first education policy of the 21st century is out under the leadership of our Honorable Prime Minister Shri Narendra Modi ji. Now the policy has a bright and huge vision for the country, that it is having a vision to totally revamp the education system across the spectrum. Not only school, it is from KG to PG. So every sector, part of the system of education proposes to be revamped with a new vision altogether. So if you look at the previous policy, that is the 1986 policy, which was, revised in 92, that was just when the internet was taking off. And once the internet has, took off, the world is changing rapidly. So every day there is something new to learn. And it is the right time and high time to have a policy for our country wherein we are aligned towards the 21st century goals. Interestingly, the policy is also heavily based upon the traditional and the value system of our country, which is again welcome. Emphasis has been laid out on the overall development of the child and just not the cognitive capabilities. It is said that India will have the highest number of young population for the next decade, and the new education policy is going to play a vital role in shaping the future torchbearers of this country. So the overview of the policy that I am going to focus, as Shubhangi ma'am said, it is practically, it's not feasible that within 1 hour we touch each and every aspect of the policy, but I have just taken the key aspects of the policy, and this is what I will be touching upon: early childhood care and education, foundational literacy and numeracy, curriculum framework, in which I will touch upon the new curricular structure, the transformation of pedagogy, multilingualism, and examination reforms. Also, I touch upon teachers, school complexes, and regulation of school education. Let me proceed with my presentation. Early childhood care and education. If I have to draw an analogy of a construction of a building, the foundation, though which is not visible, is very, very important for the strong structure of the building, because only then I can rise high up, floors after floor, if my foundation is strong. So similarly to the education system, the early childhood, the early years, the KG section plays a vital role for building the fundamentals of the students. And the policy has rightly brought out the importance of early childhood care and education by giving a lot of prominence and importance for this part of education. According to research, 85% of the child's brain development gets completed by the age of 6. If you see, this is the age when the children are in KG section up till grade 1. So when 85% of the brain development of our lifetime gets completed within these years, I need not emphasize the importance of early years to you all, right? So with the importance given here, the new curriculum is going to be framed for early childhood care and education, the responsibility of which has been given to NCERT. And if you compare the previous structure, it was 10 plus 2. So the early years part was not mandated as such. Regulation for the early years have been in recent years after some untoward incidents. But largely for quite a long time, this sector was unregulated. So when regulations are coming, curriculum is also coming. So someone else is sharing the screen, right? Sorry, okay. So the quality of early childhood education is vital for the spectrum of education to be in place. The overall aim the policy lays out for early childhood care and education is not just increasing of cognitive capabilities, but also the motor skills, the physical skills, the socio-emotional skills, and also development of language skills in an early age, both written and communication. So that is what the policy emphasizes on early childhood care and education. Coming to foundational literacy and numeracy, various reports, both government and non-government, have suggested that majority of students in elementary schools are unable to read and comprehend and solve, basic numericals. So when I say they are not able to attain foundational literacy and numeracy, they are not able to write, they are not able to comprehend a simple text, or they are not able to solve basic, problems on addition and subtraction. When the policy is, envisions a great improvement in the system of education, this cannot happen when we are not even attaining foundational literacy and numeracy. So the policy has heavily emphasized a national urgent mission to attain foundational literacy and numeracy by the year 2025. So only then this policy will be relevant, because until we reach the minimum learning levels, we cannot think of beyond, right? So the policy has emphasized heavily on that, which has to be a national priority to attain foundational literacy and numeracy. The policy also aims to curtail dropout rates from school by ensuring universal access to education, and it also gives enough amount of space in case the students quit at some point of time. They are able to rejoin the spectrum, the course wherever they have left. So this kind of access at all levels, not only school but also higher education, has been planned and laid out clearly in the policy. The new curricular structure, most of you are already familiar with this. So the previous structure was 10 plus 2, but now it is 5 plus 3 plus 3 plus 4. So when I say 5, that stage is foundational stage, which comprises of early years, grade 1 and 2. And preparatory stage is for grades 3 to 5. Middle stage for grades... Alright, so I was saying that the new curricular structure is 5 plus 3 plus 3 plus 4. The foundational stage, the preparatory stage, grades 3 to 5, middle stage, grades 6 to 8, secondary stage, grades 9 to 12. So if you see the current structure in Karnataka, where there is a pre-university course, PUC colleges, now this, we really don't know how the things are going to be implemented. So the whole thing seems to be, part of school education now. So the new curricular structure is 5 plus 3 plus 3 plus 4. Foundational stage, preparatory stage, middle stage and secondary stage. So that's the new curricular structure. So very, very happily the pedagogy aims to be transformed. So pedagogy or curriculum should not be content driven, wherein the information is copied and pasted from the brain of the teacher to the brain of the student. So it must be beyond that, wherein it is conceptual understanding that is in place rather than just content driven approach. So the present system, which is having an information overload, it motivates the students towards rote learning, because it is all about presentation of content or information in an exam. So we are largely testing their memory rather than their conceptual understanding. So it is important in the 21st century that we teach what Google cannot teach. Today content is available everywhere. Within fraction of seconds you will get whatever you want. But what you really need to have is the skill to get the right information from the right place and present it, or understand it and apply it to situations appropriately. So that is more important than overloading yourself with content. So the policy also has heavily come up on the pedagogy, where emphasis is given on conceptual understanding. So the pedagogy it proposes for foundational stage is flexible, multi-layer and play-based. That is for early years, grade 1 and 2. Grade 3, 4, 5, the major emphasis is on experiential learning or learning by doing or hands-on learning. For middle years and secondary stage, it is subject-oriented pedagogy, wherein there is no hard separation of curricular subjects and co-curricular subjects. Emphasis has been given on occasional subjects, wherein students have to mandatorily take one occasional subject, which the policy has stated. And also the policy suggests a 10-day internship for the students to practice the skills they have learned in the occasional subject. The curriculum has been planned to be reduced to the core concepts, and which will definitely make way for the teachers to proceed the teaching learning process with discovery based learning, inquiry based learning, so that you have enough time when the curriculum load is reduced. So the curriculum also plans to be reduced to core content, and also there is going to be a flexibility to choose the subjects. So there's going to be a lot of subjects that the students will be able to choose, not only in school education but also in higher education. So this is what is the pedagogy that the NEP proposes for various stages. The NEP also has brought out the relevance of multilingualism and the advantage of learning multiple languages at an early stage of education. So the policy proposes a 3-language formula, which struck a huge controversy in some states, but the policy, after its final approval, has clearly stated that no language will be imposed on any state, and the state will have the liberty to choose the subjects, but 2 out of 3 subjects have to be native to India. So, and also one more controversy that the policy struck with languages is the medium of instruction. Again, if you read the policy, it clearly states, I quote, whenever possible, medium of instruction until grade 5 will be in mother tongue. So if you take the word wherever possible, you can understand that statement in different sense. So again, it is not very clear on that, and since education is a concurrent subject, states also have got a huge say on bringing the policy into implementation. Examination reforms. Examinations, the word itself brings in phobia to a lot of students. Recently I was reading on newspaper that a chief minister of a particular state cancelled arrear exams for college students, and the students put out banners and thank you notes, and it became very viral on social media. They started thanking the chief minister that the arrear exams were cancelled. So that is the kind of a phobia that the word exam carries, especially with the student community. So these examinations are going to be more of formative, and now the way that summative assessments carry the predominant role in assessment, it is going to be equal. Formative assessments are also going to carry weightage in an equal sense when it comes to assessments. And the assessments are going to be holistic. It is 360-degree assessment and just not cognitive capabilities. The policy has proposed an assessment at grade 3, 5 and 8, that is when they complete a stage of learning, wherein the assessments have to test the learning outcomes and also the application of concepts to real life situations. And it is going to be a school-based assessment. Board exams for grade 10 and 12 will continue, but the aura that the board exam carries around it, or the phobia that the board exam carries around it, will be reduced. So the board exams are proposed to test only core concepts. If a child is able to study thoroughly throughout the year, he should be able to clear the exams in an easy way. So this will heavily bring down on the coaching institutes getting mushroomed, and it will also demotivate rote learning, where the board exams are also going to test competencies rather than just content. It also proposes that the boards might have 2 levels of mathematics, which CBSE has also already pioneered, and it has I was saying about board exams and 2 levels of mathematics. Coming to the progress cards, the report cards, which gives numbers and alphabets, is also going to change, and NCRT has been given the responsibility of designing a new progress card or a report card which will report a complete student, a whole student. It is not going to be just alphabets and numbers, much beyond that. So we have to wait and anticipate to look at how a new progress card is going to look like. Teacher, the torch bearer of change. Teacher must be the center of a fundamental reform in education system. And I'm very happy to note that the policy has aimed to re-establish teacher as the most respected and essential member of the society, because they are the ones who truly shape the generation next. So with respect to teacher and teacher education, the policy aims to mandate 50 hours of continuing professional development for a teacher. I always believe that if you are not updated, you will be outdated. So if you are not updated, you'll be outdated. So that's what happened to Nokia, So now it has made a comeback. That's a different story altogether. So this 50 hours of CPD or continuing professional development is the liberty lies with the teacher to choose the areas of their professional development. And the policy also aims to bring out what is called as National Professional Standards for Teachers. So NPST, the teacher standards will be brought out by 2022. Now what is this teacher standards? This teacher standards will define the role and expectations from a teacher. In the UK, there is what is called as the UK teacher standards. So every day as I teach and as I, as a teacher teaches, throughout the day, and the way she behaves in a classroom, each and everything needs to be mapped with a particular standard, and they keep reporting it. So that is what the teacher system works in the UK. So similarly, I think the government of India will also come up with some standards for teachers. The B.Ed, which is the teacher education program in our country, which is a 2-year program right now, will be a 4-year integrated program by the end of 2030. So all the standalone B.Ed colleges now, which are just holding a B.Ed program, will be a multidisciplinary institute where they'll also have to make it, an integrative program. So 4 years of B.Ed, which includes graduation plus B.Ed. So the policy also aims to have what is called as school complexes for optimal utilization and sharing of resources by the year 2025. So you are already aware that the CBSE has pioneered again in this area, where it has created hubs of learning, and it is already functional from last year. So the hubs of learning is again part of the school complexes plan which the NEP proposes. Coming to the last part of my presentation, the regulation of school education. If you see in the state level regulation, there is Department of School Education, which is the apex body of the state to regulate school education. But now the policy, aims or proposes to establish few more regulatory authorities, wherein the roles and responsibilities are divided amongst those bodies. So the Department of School Education will be the policy making and overall monitoring of school education in the state. It also proposes to set up what is called as Directorate of School Education, which will be in charge of educational reforms, educational operations and service provisions of public schools. When I say public schools, it is government schools. And there is also another body, State School Standards Authority, SSSA, which is a quality standard, monitoring a body for both public and private schools. And SCRT, in lines of NCRT, will be in charge of all academic matters. So if you see, this kind of, divides the responsibilities among different bodies so that the efficiency of the system increases. At the end, in conclusion, I would like to state that the policy has set out a brilliant vision for education in our country, but the success of any policy depends upon its implementation. And for implementation, what requires now is a change in mindset. Because for a new learning, first of all, we need to unlearn. So once the unlearning happens effectively, then definitely relearning will happen. So let us all together as a teaching community unlearn and relearn with the new policy that is coming up to to set our own professional standards and our own professional practice in a very different way than we used to do it. So thank you very much for the opportunity. Jai Hind.
Thank you, Vinayak sir, for briefing us with your PowerPoint presentation, which was very informative, and it almost touched all the verticals of school education. It was great insight, and hopefully a lot of points are clear related to school education to the participants. The overview of the policy was a bird's eye view of our professional and comprehensive grantha, which is National Education Policy. Definitely what you said is right. Update yourself or you will be outdated. And we need to do a lot of unlearning to relearn things and cope up to this new change. Thank you so much.